Scott in New Orleans, and he says hello on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jumper, what's going on? What do you have for me today, pal?
Hey, Doggy, how you doing today, man?
All
Good
right.
topic today.
Yeah, not bad. Easy one. We'll do a little NBA at the top of the hour, give you a little sense about tomorrow. But, yes, go ahead. Let me hear what's on your mind today.
Yeah, well, you know, and I hope nobody take this in a bad way. Are you familiar with the term flunky, Doggy?
Flunky? I've heard of it. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, when flunky is somebody who would do anything for anybody at any time.
Right.
And you know what? When I think of McDaniels, you know, when you start out in quality control and Doggy, you're like a flunky. Like if the coach tell you to go and clean his toilet, you go clean his toilet. If the coach tell you to go deflate the footballs, you go deflate the football. That's what you do. And to his credit, he worked his way up all the way to become the offensive coordinator of the greatest team in football history with the greatest coach and the greatest quarterback. He was actually handed the keys to a Cadillac there, Doggy. You know, and to his credit, he worked his way up. So, and again, once he got to that point in his career, Shine, that means that he had an opportunity to get a head coaching job. Do you know when he went to Denver, do you know who his first round pick was, Doggy?
Who was his what? I'm sorry, Jump?
His first round pick.
Was it Tebow, was it?
Tim Tebow.
Right.
So that tells me right there, Doggy, everything he learned under Belichick, he decided that he thought that Tim Tebow was a quarterback. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this guy really didn't learn anything. So my thing to you, I think he's the most celebrated quality control guy on the come-up who has defrauded everyone's mind thinking that he's something that he's really not.
Well, listen, I think there's some truth to the idea that maybe he's getting a little too much credit. It is Belichick's team. Anybody could coach Brady. Charlie Weiss did it, for crying out loud. So I can understand your point that maybe he went to Denver was bad. He went to St. Louis. He wasn't exactly bold. He didn't bowl anybody over there in the Midwest. And he came back to New England, ran a team, and he had Brady. So maybe he is a little overrated. There might be something to it. Here's Pat in Chicago. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Patrick, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Chris. Hey, just a couple of things. I agree with you as far as I think the Malcom Butler thing, they wouldn't have let him play on special teams had it been a disciplinary thing. He probably was as a corner, maybe in practice he was doing some hero ball and.
He probably had a very. He was sick. Don't forget that he wasn't. Okay, he missed the team playing. He wasn't there on that first night, so he's not feeling well. He is sick. Probably had a lousy week of practices. Maybe he's yelling at coaches. And Belichick, for whatever the reason, come Friday, had basically written him out of the game plan. Now, the argument for that, you can't argue that. Based on it's Belichick, he do what he wants. What you can argue is how in the world you take him out of the game plan, even at halftime when you're down 22, whatever it was, and you have given up 1 million points. That's the issue. Go ahead.
I agree. The other thing I was going to say is, I also agree with you regarding the Clement touchdown. If the refs had said that was an incomplete pass, and they went back, there's no way they would have overruled that
Correct.
with replay.
Yes, I agree.
So when they look at that at replay and say, I just don't see it. I think he was definitely bobbling the ball, and and then when he took his third step, he initially touched that tip of his foot
out of bounds
on the end line.
Yeah, I thought that
it did. And then when he put his foot flat,
right.
Your foot rolls down. When you flatten your foot out, it's behind the line. But initially, I think it tapped the white line.
I thought he had it for a split second there, Pat, actually inbounds. But I think that one you could – I don't think it was that obviously. Again, in all sports, replay is supposed to eliminate the obvious mistake. That's what it's supposed to do. The obvious mistake. We're not supposed to cut and slice and, figure it out by the slither. The big error is supposed to be corrected. That was, even though you could make a better case to incomplete, it wasn't definitive. That was very close. Ernst scored. We continue your calls. A little PJ on the NBA. Stick with us.